Welcome back to EtherLink AI Insights. I'm Alex, and today we're diving into something that sounds like it came straight out of a sci-fi novel, but it's very much real. We're talking about an AI vision quest in Lapland, combining Finnish wilderness with AI mentorship for executive transformation. Sam, when I first heard about this, I thought, wait, you're taking leaders into the Arctic to teach them about artificial intelligence? Walk me through why that even makes sense.
Great question, Alex. On the surface, it sounds wild, but there's solid neuroscience backing this up. Research from Stanford shows that nature immersion boosts cognitive flexibility by 47% compared to urban environments. The idea is simple. Your brain isn't exhausted from managing urban stressors, so it has full bandwidth to tackle complex AI concepts. That's not romantic thinking. That's attention restoration theory at work.
So it's not about the pretty views making people feel inspired. It's literally rewiring how their brains process information. But here's what I'm curious about. There's clearly a gap between organizations adopting AI and actually transforming their leadership. McKinsey found that 55% of companies use AI in at least one function, but only 18% see real leadership transformation. How does a week in the wilderness actually close that gap?
That gap exists because technical training doesn't change how leaders think strategically. You can teach someone prompt engineering in a classroom, but if they're stressed, distracted, and operating under old mental models, nothing sticks. The AetherTravel model pairs three critical elements: wilderness immersion for cognitive reset, personalized AI mentorship, and progressive skill building designed around something called flow state. Mihai Chik identified that flow, where your skill level matches the challenge perfectly, is where real learning and transformation happen.
Flow state. That's the zone where you're completely absorbed and time flies. Can you actually engineer that deliberately? It sounds fragile, like you'd need exact conditions.
Exactly, but that's precisely why the program is 7 days and highly structured. The first 2 days are about pairing each participant with an AI mentor and assessing their cognitive style and industry-specific challenges. Days 3 and 4 get intense. Golden prompt stack development, building custom AI agents. Each challenge is calibrated to keep you right at that edge between skill and difficulty. What's fascinating is the timing. They run this during the midnight sun season in Finnish Lapland. That continuous daylight actually breaks traditional thinking patterns.
The midnight sun is operating 24/7, and they're using that as almost a metaphor or trigger for AI's always-on nature. That's clever. But I want to push back gently here. We're talking about executives flying to Finland for a week-long program. That's not cheap, and it's not convenient. What kind of results would justify that investment?
That's the practical question every CFO asks, and rightfully so. Corporate Learning Quarterly published data showing that CEOs who learn prompt engineering in nature environments have 3x higher retention rates than traditional training. But beyond retention, consider what transformation actually looks like. Leaders who return with a fundamentally different mental model for how to architect AI solutions in their organizations. They're not just trained, they've been reset and rebuilt.
3 times higher retention is significant. So by day 5 or 6, what are participants actually doing? Are they still learning new concepts, or are they applying what they've absorbed?
The program builds progressively. By midweek, participants are moving from foundational concepts into real application, designing custom AI agents tailored to their own organizational challenges. This isn't theoretical. They're literally building solutions they can take back and implement. And because they've been through 5 days of integrated learning in an environment designed for cognitive flow, they're doing this with clarity and strategic depth most executives don't access in boardrooms.
So they're not just learning AI, they're designing their own AI solutions while still in the program. That's the transformation piece. I'm also intrigued by something you mentioned, the AI mentor pairing. That seems like a crucial ingredient. What makes that different from just having a good instructor?
Mentorship at this level is about personalization and coaching, not content delivery. Each participant gets paired based on their cognitive style and industry context. The mentor from EtherLink isn't just teaching AI architecture, they're trained in executive coaching. So they're helping leaders see blind spots, challenge assumptions, and integrate new mental models. That one-on-one dynamic, combined with the wilderness setting, creates psychological safety to take intellectual risks.
Psychological safety. That's critical, especially when executives are learning something completely outside their comfort zone. In a traditional corporate training, you're competing with peers, you're thinking about how you look, you're managing your image. Here, you're in Lapland, surrounded by nature, working one-on-one with a mentor. That changes everything.
Absolutely. And the location itself, Taiga School overlooking Kitkajärvi Lake, surrounded by 4 national parks, isn't just atmospheric. It's functional. You're cognitively isolated from the demands of your job. No board members emailing, no quarterly pressures, no industry noise. Your brain can actually focus.
Let's talk about the practical outcome. Someone completes this 7-day quest. They've built custom AI agents. They've mastered something called the Golden Prompt Stack methodology. They've got this AI lead architecture competency. What does that actually look like when they get back to their office?
They return as a different kind of leader. Not just smarter about AI, genuinely transformed in how they think about AI integration across their organization. They've moved from what is AI to how do we architect AI solutions that serve our strategic goals. They understand prompt engineering not as a technical skill, but as a leadership competency. They can mentor others because they've been through the process themselves. They're not just adopters, they're architects.
That's a multiplication effect. One transformed leader comes back and can influence an entire organization's AI strategy. That actually does justify the investment, especially if we're talking about the leadership gap McKinsey identified. But I want to know, what's the hardest part of this program? What makes participants actually transform beyond the nice scenery?
The hardest part is the cognitive dissonance and discomfort of genuinely learning something new at an advanced level. You can't fake understanding custom AI agents or prompt architecture. You have to actually do the work. The wilderness and mentorship create the conditions, but the transformation comes from participants pushing through that difficulty. The flow state keeps it sustainable, challenging, but not overwhelming. But make no mistake, this is rigorous intellectual work.
So it's not a spa retreat with a motivational speaker. It's intensive learning in an environment that allows your brain to perform at its peak. That distinction matters. If you're listening and thinking about how your organization can close that AI leadership gap, this is worth considering. Sam, final thought. Who's the ideal participant for this program?
Executives and leaders genuinely committed to understanding AI at a strategic level, not just delegating it. C-suite leaders, heads of innovation, anyone whose decision-making will shape how their organization adopts and integrates AI. This works best for people who recognize that their current mental models aren't sufficient for the AI era. The openness to transform is the real prerequisite.
That openness is everything. If you're interested in learning more about this AI vision quest in Lapland, the full article is available on etherlink.ai. You'll find details about the program structure, the science behind nature-based learning, and real insights into what this transformation looks like. Thanks for joining us on EtherLink AI Insights. I'm Alex, and we'll be back soon with more conversations at the intersection of AI, leadership, and innovation. Sam, thanks for breaking this down.
Thanks, Alex. Great conversation. Head to etherlink.ai for the full story. There's a lot more depth there about the methodologies and the research. We'll catch you next time.